Welcome to the Whiskey Vault. I'm Daniel Whittington, Chancellor of Wizard Academy and Whiskey Marketing School. I don't know how to open bottles of whiskey, turns out. I've already cut myself twice. Gently. People hassle me for like peeling all this crap off, but you know why I do it? Because otherwise you leave this little shredded piece of foil and then you go to twist the bottle open, and every time I cut my thumb on this stupid foil seal. So I peel off a lot of it. Plus I can't help it. Okay, today we are talking about a thing that Dr. Nick Grant taught me. Dr. Nick Grant is a clinical psychologist, and he is the instructor at Wizard Academy who teaches Myers-Briggs. He was on the board of directors, a founding board of directors member of Wizard Academy, was the chairman of the board for a long time, still teaches at Wizard Academy, all around absolutely incredible human being. And he taught me a lot of very valuable little nuggets about psychology and relationship that you don't need to be a psychologist to implement, and that's the trick. A lot of people love to play around with psychology and play around with things like this, and then they get themselves into trouble by waking dragons and not knowing how to put them back. Or they start messing with psychology with people but not knowing its context and why. The things I'm going to share with you are little nuggets of communication that are helpful no matter what your background. And one of my favorites is this thing that Dr. Grant called the circles exercise. And it's about love languages. Now, we've all heard about love languages. If you're in any kind of relationship and you've had to read books or go to counseling or just research relationships. And then, man, I'm smelling this and it's just taken over. Good Lord. Smells great. There's a book on the love languages, but if you don't know about it, there's 5 love languages, of which there's a lot more than that, but they taught about 5 love, and your love language is physical touch or gift giving or words of affirmation. These are love languages, and everybody has preferences on how they receive love and how they feel loved and then how they communicate love. For example, if I'm following that rule, I love giving gifts to people. It's one of my favorite things to do. I actually don't give a shit about receiving gifts at all. I'm divided that way, right? And a lot of people are. These gifts are not hard. It's not like people who love words of affirmation don't like physical touch, or people who love gift giving don't like words of affirmation. It's not how it works. Everyone's a blend of all of these things. We all have all 5 love languages, and we all dabble in them to different percentages. But it is helpful in the sense that if you are not thinking intentionally about your communication with the people that you love, then it's very easy to miss things and or create miscommunications and conflict that just don't get resolved. And then you find people 6 months into a relationship saying, I just feel like you don't love me, and they're going like, what are you talking about? Look at all these things I've done for you, acts of service. Look at everything I do for you all the time. And it's like, yeah, but what I need is you to say these things and to show physical effect and all of a sudden you get these 2 people who are both trying to deliver love in their own language, and they're both talking past each other, and neither of them feels seen and loved. And so at that level, understanding a book like The 5 Love Languages can be helpful in just framing thoughtfulness and intention around your relationships. But if you really want to deep dive on something like this, there is a whole other exercise you can do, and it is insanely powerful. And I'm going to tell you what it is. But first, we're going to drink the Double Peat. This I got at Total Wine. I'm pretty sure it's a Spirits Direct, which I think is exclusive to Total Wine. I don't know if it's exclusive to Total Wine in the world or just when it's in the US market, it's a Total Wine release. But it's Angus Dundee, which is a very long-running Angus Dundee Distillers is a very old company. They own Tom & Toole and Glencadam, which I love Glencadam, among other things. And they've got blending facilities, they release blends, and they've got a whole line of products. What was the one that I've reviewed? There's several I've reviewed that are Angus Dundee products. This is an Angus Dundee product, evidently, and evidently done for Total Wine. I like the graphics, they're fun and very interesting. Evidently 2 peats. It's a blended malt, which means no grain whiskey, only malt. And they said it's from 2 distilleries, an Isla distillery, which, guys, we've got to assume is Coolila, but I would be shocked if it wasn't. and a peated whiskey from Speyside, which is rare. It's rare to get a peated whiskey from Speyside. Now, we don't know where it came from. They own Glencadam and they own Tom and Tool. That is not to say that Glencadam, there's a peated Glencadam or a peated Tom and Tool in this. We don't know anything about that. But if I was going to guess what the Islay component is, I would bet everything I have right here that is probably a Caol Ila Islay. The nose is really great. The nose is rich smoke, caramel hard candy, butterscotch, earth and grass, overturned damp wood like forest log, and then really soft, almost floral sweetness. The fire is charred, brisket edge, burnt edge. I've got to think that all the dark smoke notes out of this are coming from the Speyside, and all of the light, delicate are coming from Caol Ila. My experience is Caol Ila as a blending component has a nice hole in the middle, and it does a really great low-end peat and high-end sparkle zest, and it works great as a blending component because you can fill that middle with all of this richness, and it holds itself well. But I love the nose on this. It is 46%. I want more from the palate, but what I'm getting on the palate is this first blush of smoke and then a cave drop off like shunk, a hole, and then it comes back in with ash and slight sugar sweetness. So it's got that donut, that like valley in between the beginning and the end and the low and the high. And it does this scoop out of the middle. If I was blending this, I would really love to see something fill in that mid palate. But it's a very nice honeyed smoke, burnt honey, for lack of a better term. Dark ash, light ash, dark earth, light honey sweetness. It's this weird mix of those two. So it's got the high highs and the low lows just like locked into a battle. And it's very fun to drink. I wish that they were married together with a mid palate that brought them into cohesiveness instead of this like interlaced, like weirdly I'm picturing like the Celtic knot, where one section is the high-end bright peat notes and one end is the low-end earthy peat notes, and the only thing that's tracing the edges is the honey. I'm adding a little water just to see a real quick interaction with the oil. It made it less honey, more ashy. It kind of softens the middle, simplifies it a little bit. It's not as interesting, but it's also not as much of a battle going on. Interesting. Reasonable experience. I'd try it. It'd be a good budget blended malt. I mean, and budget is relatively speaking. It's not $30, $20, but. Okay, now the circles exercise. This is what Dr. Grant calls the circles exercise. What he says is, love languages are great, but there's a problem with the golden rule, and that is that the golden rule is stupid. Dr. Grant didn't say that, I said that. The golden rule is incomplete, is what Dr. Grant says. The golden rule is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But that's wrong, because we all have preferences, right? And assuming that the way you like things to be done is the way that you should treat everybody else is the basis of almost all relationship drama and problems and conflict. You doing things your way, thinking you're helping, right? The real golden rule, according to Dr. Grant, should be do unto others as they would prefer to be done unto. Figure out what they want, what they love, and do those things for them. That's the real golden rule, right? I don't know what we call it, can't be the golden rule. But he said, if you want to get started, do this exercise. Draw circles, 3, 4, 5. We got somebody in the elevator, so you're going to hear some elevator noise in the background. It just is what it is. Circles exercise. You're going to take a piece of paper, you're going to draw circles, big enough that you can write someone's name into them, each of you. 4 circles, 5. The paper we print out has 5 circles on it, but it doesn't matter. And in the circle, each of you is going to write the name of a person who loved you just for who you were. It can't be your spouse, partner. It can't be your dog or your parole officer, as Dr. Grant says. It has to be someone who loved you, in your memory, loved you for just the way you are. You didn't have to be smart, beautiful, good looking. You just were you. They just loved you. And you knew it, and you felt loved. And hopefully we all have somebody, at least one person like this in our lives. Write down as many names as you can think of. It cannot be the person you're doing this with. It has to be other people. And then go out on a date. Go for coffee, go for a drink, go to a bar, go for a whiskey, go for dinner, and sit down and have your partner or spouse read the name and then explain to you what that person did that made you feel seen and loved. Specifically, how? What was it that they did that made you feel seen and loved? And then you write things down and take notes, because what you have been given is the gift of not a generic love language, but an autobiographical love language. A love language that is completely unique to the person sitting across from you and very specific. And here's what's crazy. If you want that person to feel loved, all you have to do is do that thing that they told you about. And it will be cheesy, but it will work. And they'll see it happening. Oh, I see that you're doing that thing that I told you that other person used to do for me. But it doesn't matter. It will still work. If you simply do the things that in this person's autobiographical history they remember as making them feel loved and seen, then you have the power to make the person you care about feel loved and seen in a way that is unique and specific to their own preferences and their own upbringing and their own history. It is insanely powerful on an entire other level from the 5 love languages of the mind. Whole other ballgame. And if you will actually do it, will change things. I promise you, will change things for you in ways you did not expect. I hope that's helpful to you. Cheers. And I'm really glad you're here. If you would like to know my autobiographical love language, it's liking and subscribing and commenting on the videos with content ideas of things you would like to know or see or hear videos about. Cheers to you.